So my name is Jim Collier. I'm the VP of Marketing here with MyEcon. I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to be in front of a room full of good-looking people. And all of y'all look good. You smell good? Thank you. Thank you, right? Everybody washed up. So we're really happy that you came out here today to really get some great information. Now, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to shift into our credit repair and our credit repair training, because many of you may not have seen that. Many of you may have not experienced some of what we are teaching as it relates to fixing and repairing your credit. But before I do that, did John Pettiford do an awesome job? Yeah. Awesome job. Let's give it back up to John Pettiford. And did our co-founder, Mr. Alvin Curry, did he get you fired up and ready this morning? Yeah. Anybody felt like they went to church this morning? Right? So what we're going to do now is we're really going to get into our smart credit system. And I want to tell you that this system was a personal system that hit home for me. You know, I got married, and we got married, and our wedding anniversary, or our wedding was on a Monday, because we could save some money. The venue was half off if we did it on a Monday. So me and my wife, we got married, and we got ready to go on the honeymoon. And 3 days after we got married, she got laid off on her job at AT&T. She'd been with AT&T 10, 12 years, and she got laid off. And I was like, baby, don't worry about it. Big Daddy got you, right? Don't worry about that. And so we went on our honeymoon, and then when we got back, Big Daddy got laid off. Right? But that was all right, too. Because Big Daddy had an emergency fund. He had a 6-month emergency fund. And so the first month, we didn't even go and look for a job. Neither one of us. We just enjoyed that new marriage relationship, you know what I'm saying? We had a lot of things going on. But then I started looking for some work, and I thought I never had a problem finding a job. And what started to happen was I wasn't finding work. And I started getting nervous, because I thought I had a good amount of money in the bank. But I'm going to tell you something, that every month that you don't have money coming in, and the money that you had in your emergency fund is going out, that starts to deplete the funds very quickly. And so I got to a situation where I started calculating in advance, when am I going to run out of this money if I don't find a job? And so at that point, I had to make a critical decision. And the decision that I made was, who's not going to get paid? Because the last thing that I was going to do in my household is have my family without a roof over their head. See, I said, Visa going to be all right. So Visa got struck off the list. They didn't get paid anymore. MasterCard didn't get paid anymore. I had to make sure that I only paid the essentials for me to survive. And so I went through a depression for a little while, because my credit was at the height. And during this time, my credit just took a dive. And I remember sitting in my basement, and I remember thinking, man, what am I going to do? I've gone from 800 credit score down to a 550. What am I going to do? I thought my credit was my identity, but it wasn't. But I had this small voice that spoke to me and said, listen, you're smarter than this. Get up off your asset, right? And go to work and do some things. And so what came out of that is what you have here today called the smart credit system. You see, God birthed something inside of me through what I thought was turmoil. You see, every challenge, there's something on the other side of your challenge that's going to not only help you, but it's going to help thousands of other people. And I have been in that experience where something that happened to me now has affected thousands of people who have been able to take advantage and improve their credits all across this great country of ours. And I got to tell you, that feels good to me. So if you don't mind, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through this smart credit system, and I'm going to show you exactly how it works. I'm going to snatch the covers off of all the mystery of credit repair. Because when I was trying to go through this, it was a mystery, and they kept it a mystery. In Atlanta, when you're driving along in Atlanta, every exit you get off, they got these signs on the side of the road that says, we'll fix your credit for $500 to $1,000. They got that in Florida?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know if they got it in Florida now, but in Atlanta, they're all over the place. And so they wanted to keep it a secret. So once I figured out how to do it, we put this course together, and this is what you guys actually have. So what I want to do is I want to give you a little bit of facts about the credit, smart credit system. Everybody's interested in it. Everybody's interested in having good credit. You don't have to sell credit. Everybody knows what credit is. Over 68 million people have poor credit. I want you to think about that for a moment. Over 68 million people have poor credit. Here's what that means. There's 68 million customers that are waiting for you. See, we're going to talk about credit repair, but I want you to understand that you're in a business where you can educate and help people. And you can help over 68 million people. You don't need 68 million people to get rich. You just need a few. All right? 68 million people. 1 in 5 people have an error on their credit report. So I want you to look at your neighbor. Chances are that your neighbor might have an error on their credit report right now. Okay? 1 in 5 people. $3 billion industry in 2018. See, there's going to be some people out there that's going to tell you that you need a credit repair specialist. You need a credit repair expert. You need to pay them $500, $800, $1,000 to fix your credit. They're going to tell you that you can't do it yourself. But I'm here to snatch the covers off and tell you that you can fix your own credit all by yourself. All right? A $1 billion industry last year in fixing people's credit. All right? Here's the other thing. 79% of the people who dispute their credit, who dispute the errors on their credit report, get those things removed. Is that good? Yeah. Those are good odds. 79%. All you got to do is just know what the strategies are so that you can position yourself to actually pay off that or get those things removed off your credit. And then everybody wants good credit. So here's why I put that there. Because we're in the business to help people with their credit. And we know that everybody wants good credit. That means that everybody wants your business. Y'all need to, you're not hearing me what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that when you start a business, the one thing that you got to make sure of in your business is that you have an in-demand product. So is credit repair in demand?
Yes.
Absolutely. Do you have a large customer base?
Yes.
Absolutely. People are willing to pay for it? Absolutely. That's the business that you want to actually be in. How many people want to sell VHS tapes right now? Start a Blockbuster. You want to be in the trend, something that's ready and hot. And this is a red hot industry that we have right now. So I'm going to give you a few facts, scores by age. I thought this was pretty interesting as I was doing some research. It says, does age have an effect on your score? If you're 70 plus years old, the average score for someone that's 70 years old or older is 730, right? So everybody, grandma got good credit, right? Grandma got good credit. She's already bought everything that she was gonna buy. She got all the furniture, and if you're from the South, she got that plastic stuff on the furniture so that the furniture don't get messed up, right? Grandma don't need no credit. So 70 plus years old. Well, June, why are you telling me this? I'm just telling you that to let you know that grandma is not a potential prospect. All right? Let's take a look. 50 to 69, average credit score 700. Makes sense. These are individuals that's more established. They've already gone through the roads that many of us are going through. And I say us, I'm just shy of that 50, right? I'm gonna still hold on to the young crowd, right? I'm just shy of that. 35 to 49 have an average score of 655, 21 to 34, 634, and if you're under 20, the average credit score is 631. So here's what this says. It makes sense. When you're young, do you make foolish mistakes? Absolutely. So it makes sense. And a lot of times when you're young and you're making those mistakes, it's hard to get over those mistakes. It's hard to get over that hurdle if you don't know what to do. But here's what also makes sense. If you are a marketer in this room, I'm giving you your demographics.
Come on.
I'm showing you who your people are that you should be actually targeting. These are your demographics, all right? Let's take a look at this. Statistically, the older you are, the greater your chances that your credit score will be high, all right? Now, how about income? Does income affect your credit score? Yes. You best believe it does. So, income reflects your credit score in a way that $30,000 or less, the person has an average credit score of 590. Now, I want you to put your common sense hat on. Why is that the case?
Ain't got no money.
Because if you make less than $30,000 after paying taxes, you ain't got no money. You don't have any money to live. So something is going to happen. We say not if you have an emergency, but when you have an emergency. A person that makes less than $30,000, when they have an emergency, somebody ain't gonna get paid that money. Okay? Everybody get that? Now, I'm gonna give you a tip while I'm up here. Here's what I realized, and here's what I started to do. If you ever get yourself in a situation where you can't pay all of your bills, here's what you do. You look at all your bills, and you say, who's the unlucky person that's not going to get paid? And let that unlucky person or that unlucky company be the one that doesn't get paid all the time. Here's why I say that. A lot of times, this is what happens. You miss Visa this month. Then Visa starts calling you, and so next month you pay Visa, but then you miss MasterCard. Then MasterCard start calling you, you pay MasterCard, and then you miss Discover. Now you got 3 things you got to clear up on your credit report versus 1. If you had told Visa, look, you're the last man on the totem pole, you're just not going to get paid. When I get the money, I'm going to get everything figured out, but you're just not going to get paid. Now when you start doing credit repair, you only got to try to fix 1 instead of fix all 3. Does everybody understand that? So what you have to do is, everything that we teach in MyEcon, we're always teaching strategy. Even when you broke, there's a strategy to being broke. There's a strategy, okay? You've got to figure out who's not going to get paid, and you stick to your guns when that person's not getting paid. Everybody else get paid. But if you play the game of robbing Peter to pay Paul, you're going to have about 5 or 6 things on your credit report that now need all fixing. All right? So just make sure that you do that. Now, $30,000 to $49,000, about 643 is the average score. $50,000 to $74,000, 737 is your average score. So let me just talk about this for a moment. Poor credit is often the result of lack of income. Write that one down. Poor credit is often the result of lack of income. See, if most people had the money, they'd pay their bills. See, that was the situation I was in. It wasn't that I was a bum. It wasn't that I was irresponsible. I just didn't have the income. So poor credit is often the lack of income. Guess what MyEcon helps you with? Some income. We help you get some income, right? So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how you can use credit repair so that you can actually start building some income along with fixing your credit at the same time. Does that sound like a good plan or not?
Yes.
Absolutely. Sounds like a great plan. Now, let's talk about what a good score is. I want to go through these really quick. Excellent credit is 750 to 799. Good credit is 700 to 749. Fair credit is 650 to 699. Poor credit is 600 to 649. Bad credit is 300 to 599. And then the best credit that you can get is between 800 to 850. All right? Now, here's what I want you to understand today. Because I want you to understand that this thing is not as hard as people make it seem to be. The credit system is based on points. It's based on 300 up to 850. That means that between 300 and 850, there's 550 points that you're trying to get. Write that down. You're trying to get 550 points. Everybody understand that? There's 550 points. You get 300 just for writing your name. You're trying to get to 850. There's 550 points that you're working with. That's very important for you to know. All right? So let's talk about this thing. Let's talk about the whole score. Everybody say the whole score.
The whole score.
The whole score. You see, in the credit repair industry, they focus on one portion of your credit. They focus on the payment history. That's 35%. Payment history is, did you pay your bills on time? That's 35% of your score. It's the largest portion of your score, but it's not the whole score. So here's what that means. Payment history is only worth 192 points. That's all that it's worth, 192.5 points. So once you work on your payment history, the max that you can ever get is 192 points. So let me tell you this. If your credit utilization is out of whack and you got great payment history, you still got bad credit. But what the industry does is they focus on payment history because payment history is the only part that they can actually control and help you with. I'm going to say that again. Payment history is the only part that they can actually help you with. Payment history is about sending off some letters. And we'll talk about that here in a minute because that's important. But that's not the only part of your score. Let's take a look at the rest part of your score. We got credit utilization. Credit utilization is worth 30%. That's the amount of debt that you owe. And it's worth 165 points. Now, what is credit utilization? You got a credit card that you owe $10,000 on it. And the credit limit on the credit card is $10,000. That means that you ain't got no more credit left on that credit card. You're at 100% utilization. Your credit utilization is in the tank. You're not getting any points on that credit utilization because you've used up all of the credit that is available to you. Now, when you start paying down your debt, John Pettiford already showed you how to start paying down your debt. When you start paying down your debt makes your credit score go up. Okay? It makes it go up. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you have to write a letter to somebody and ask them if you can pay your debt off?
No.
No. See, you're in control of credit utilization. Payment history, we're going to send out some letters. We're going to tell them, I don't remember this. I don't think this is me, right? That's what we're going to do. We're going to send out some of them letters, right? I don't think this is me. I don't remember that debt being mine. But they have the ability to approve or disapprove that. But you have 100% total control over credit utilization, right? When you go to any of these credit repair companies, they never talk to you about credit utilization because they can't help you with credit utilization. But today, you saw a man up here before I came up here. You saw a man today that showed you how to fix your cash flow. And he showed you how to take one simple form and put an extra $300, $500. Somebody had $1,000 a month that came back into their household. We take that $1,000, start paying off our debt, and we increase our credit utilization. That's why MyEcon is so powerful. See, we're not just a credit repair company. We are a financial literacy company that teaches strategies. Strategies to improve your financial life. So you got a piece of it earlier today on how to fix credit utilization. Nobody's going to work with you with credit utilization. Let me give you another tip. Your credit utilization is your revolving debt. That's your credit card debt. Credit utilization is not your mortgage. So if you want to improve your credit, when you do our debt elimination, the first thing you want to do is you want to pay off that debt that is revolving. Basically, you want to pay off that credit card debt. You want to pay off any of those department store cards. Those are the first cards that you want to start paying off before you start knocking out your car payment, before you start knocking off your mortgage. You want to pay the revolving debt because when you pull your credit report, if you go to Credit Karma, it's going to show you your credit utilization, your credit ratio. And it's going to show you that your credit ratio is only the debt that is credit cards and revolving debt. So it makes sense for me to pay off my revolving debt first. Everybody okay with that? Yeah. All right, that's 165 points. Let's talk about credit history. Now, there ain't a whole lot that we can do about credit history. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. All right? So credit history is how long have you had this credit history. Now, here's something that you need to know. Sometimes there's some things on your credit report that you may not want to remove because you have long credit history. I'll say that again. Something on your credit report you may not want to remove because you have long credit history. All right? So you want to dispute the payments, the late payments, but you don't want to remove that off of your credit. I had a young lady who got really excited and started getting all this stuff removed off of her credit. I think she's in the room today. And she removed everything off her credit. And she said, June, I removed everything, my credit score went down. I said, baby, you're supposed to keep some of that credit history. Miss Baby, you in the room, raise your hand, right? She got everything removed, right? She said, I just want to get to the letters real quick. I said, you didn't go through all the videos? She said, I went straight to the letters, right? I went straight to the letters, all right? So go through everything, because I tell you that there are some things that you may not want to touch on your credit because of the credit history. So how do we get some credit history? There's this thing called authorized user. Authorized user, write that down, authorized user. And what an authorized user is basically what you're looking for is you're looking for somebody that has a credit card that they've paid on time, all the time, that has long history. And then they can add you as an authorized user to that credit card. And now what happens is you inherit their long credit history. Now, do not become an authorized user on somebody who has bad credit or who has not paid on their credit card, okay? Because just as well as you can inherit good things, you can also inherit bad things. All right? So you want to make sure of that. Now, here's the thing. Let me tell you something. If a person has bad credit, that does not mean that you should not be an authorized user on their credit card. If that card has never had missed payments on it, even though they got bad credit, you can still become an authorized user on the card that has great on-time payments. So remember, when I was in that situation, I decided that a couple of people weren't going to get paid. But I got a Capital One card that I said, you're going to get paid. And I got an American Express card that I said, you're going to get paid. So they were saved. So now I've got good credit history on those cards, even though my score had went down to 550. Everybody get that, okay? Now, credit utilization is so vital, or becoming an authorized user is so vital. Let me tell you why. My daughter, my oldest daughter, she went off to college, graduated, and decided that she wanted to go into the workforce, and she wanted to get her own apartment, she wanted to get a car, she wanted to do all the things that young people want to do when they get out of school. And here's what the lesson was that I learned. I learned that when she got out of school, even though she had never had anything on her credit report, she couldn't get anything in her name. No credit is just as bad credit. And so Daddy had to sign for everything. I even had to put her Comcast in my name. She didn't have enough credit to get Comcast. And so what I realized is that I should have prepared my child for the world of credit. So, the second two children that came along, I added them as an authorized user. So I have a 20-year-old who has like 14 years of credit history. Now, you laugh about this. Credit authorization, there is no age requirement on credit authorization. Now, there are some different credit cards that have an exception to the policy. There's about 4 or 5 of them. It's in your back office. I put it back in your back office. But most credit card companies will allow you to make anybody an authorized user. So essentially, a newborn baby coming fresh out of the womb can actually become an authorized user on your credit card, right? And have 18 years of credit history at the age of 18, right? That's because authorized users are not responsible for the credit card. Now, there's pros and cons with that. Here's what I would do. I would not give my child the credit card. Period. They do not get the credit card. In fact, when you add them as an authorized user, which you can do online, they're going to send you a card in the mail. Just Be at the mailbox and just get your scissors and just cut that card up, right? Because all we want them to have is the history. We don't want them to have the credit card, okay? Here's the other thing you've got to be careful of. If you put your newborn child on your credit card as an authorized user, make sure that for the next 18 years you pay that card on time. Because if you miss payments on that card, your child just missed payments. Right? So do you need to do it for 18 years? It's a nice thing to say, but the reality is that once my kids got into college, I add them on as an authorized user. They got the history. We got their credit score boosted up. And then what did I do? I had them go get their own credit card so they can start their credit history. And I should start teaching them about credit. All right? Everybody okay with that? Yeah. Now, somebody said everybody in my family got bad credit. All of them messed up. I can't get anybody as an authorized user. There's another option that you have, and it's called rent payments. Your rental payment history can also be used as credit history. Now, there are several companies on the web that will actually take your rental payments and transfer that into credit history. They will even go back as far as 2 years and take that and create a credit history for you, giving you 2 years of credit history on your rental payments. Now, they charge a fee for that. They usually charge about $100 to do 2 years of back date on rental history. All right? But that's another way that you can actually add credit history to your credit score. The credit repair specialists, they don't really talk to you about that because that doesn't help them. Everybody understand that? It doesn't help them. All right, let's talk about the next piece. New credit. New credit is going to give you a maximum of 55 points. June, if I could get new credit, I wouldn't be here. The problem is I can't get new credit. How do I get new credit? Well, there are different ways that you can get new credit. Probably some of the best ways that you can get new credit is you can go out and you can get what's known as a self-lender loan. Anybody ever heard of self-lender loans? Okay? Let me explain to you how a self-lender loan actually works. You have a company, pretty much like a bank, that will take some money. They'll take $500 to $1,000, and they will put that into a CD for you, a certificate of deposit. They'll put that into a CD for you. And then they will give you a payment history to pay on that CD. But they will freeze the CD, meaning that you cannot touch the money. So there's no risk to the bank, because they give it to you, but they don't give it to you. It's there in the bank, and if you don't pay on it, they still got their own money. Now, it's a win-win situation for the bank, because if you get a $1,000 credit loan program, and they give you a payment history of $100 a month, well, if you stop paying on the third or fourth month, that's $400 that they keep. And they keep the $1,000, right? So there's no risk. So being that there's no risk to you, they're willing to give you that loan. Now here's the other great thing. We've got a credit builder program in our smart credit system. Not only will they do that for you, but there's no hard inquiry on your credit report. A hard inquiry is when they check your credit to see how good you are on paying on time, and an inquiry actually lowers your credit score for a little bit. But because they're not risking anything, they don't do a hard inquiry pull. You pretty much are guaranteed to get the loan and just start paying, you start rebuilding. That gives you some new credit, okay? And that would be considered an installment loan, all right? Then we got credit mix, which is the last 10 points or 10% of the score. Credit mix is worth 55 points. Credit mix says that I must have so much revolving debt and so much installment debt. Somebody asked me, well, what's the ratio? How much revolving debt do I need to have compared to installment debt? You need 3 credit cards to 1 installment debt, or 3 revolving accounts to 1 installment debt. That's usually the appropriate mix, 3 to 4 revolving to 1 installment. All right? This is how you fix your credit, ladies and gentlemen. This right here. I can stop right here and just walk off the stage, drop the mic, and be done. That's how you fix your credit. All right? Now I'm going to go through the solutions here. Payment history. Payment history, there's 4 letters. I'm going to go through these 4 letters real quick. You got debt verification letter, method of verification, violation of fair credit reporting rights letter, and the intent to litigate. Let's go through this real quick. The debt verification, you go pull your credit report. You see some negative items on your credit report. You send the first letter off back to the credit reporting agencies saying, I need you to verify that this debt is mine. Now, you probably know the debt yours, right? You know you missed no payments. But that's not the point. The law says that they have to verify that the debt is yours. So who am I to argue with the law? I'm here to let the law do what the law do. So I need to make sure that you can verify that this debt actually belongs to me. In that situation, a lot of people start getting things removed off their credit report because they can't verify that the debt actually belongs to you. So that's the debt verification letter. Now, they will oftentimes send back an automatic reply and says, yep, the debt's yours. And that's where people quit. This is where you find out who your quitters are. The one letter, and they reply back and say, yep, the debt's yours, and they quit. That's a quitter. Come on. Quitters quit. That's what they do. That's what they were born to do, is quit. But not MyEcon associates, right? No. We're not going to quit. We're going to the next step. The next step is the method of verification. So the law also says that if you said that you verified it, I now have the right to ask you how you verified it. That letter says, who did you talk to? What's their phone number? What's the extension? What they say? What's the position they held? That's called the method of verification. Because many times the way that they verify your debt is through an automated computer system. They don't talk to anybody. So now you do the method of verification. Now they might start the hemming and hawing. Y'all ever heard of that, hemming and hawing? Right? They get the hemming and hawing and get some of that stuff removed off. But some of them are just going to be hardcore. So the next letter that you send is the violation of your Fair Credit Reporting Act rights. It says that, listen, you're supposed to verify this. You said the debt was verified. You're supposed to give me the method of verification. You are violating my rights at this time. So you go through that process. If that doesn't happen, then you start pulling out the big guns and say the intent to litigate. This means that I'm ready to take you to court. Okay? So the letters get a little bit stronger. Each letter gets stronger. Y'all know about that, right? Yep. You know when you miss a payment, they send you a nice letter to say, hey, Mr. Collier, you probably overlooked this, but you missed your payment. And then when I don't answer that letter, you get a stronger letter. Mr. Collier, we've been calling you. You've been avoiding the phone calls. We know you live there. We know this is your phone number. The letters start getting a little bit stronger. Well, we got the same thing on the opposite end. You send out the letters, they get a little bit stronger. Okay? Now, once we get here to the intent to litigate, somebody says, well, Joe, what do I do if they still don't remove it off? Here's my solution to that. The first thing I always ask is, once you get down here to the 4th letter, and they have not removed it, ask yourself, is this debt really mine? I tried, right? Because we want to be honest. We good folks in here, right? We good folks in here. We're not going to try to shuck and jive the system, right? So when you get down to the 4th, and they still don't take it off, you have to ask yourself, is this debt really mine? If it's really mine, I gave it a good old try, right? Because remember, this is only 35% of your score anyway. We're going to get most of it off, but you might not get all of it off. So if you saw somebody posting on the internet, on Facebook, saying that MyEcon teach you how to remove everything, they lying. I ain't never said that. We ain't never said that. We're never going to do that. And I hope that you as associates, as you're marketing the business, I hope that you don't market that lie. Because everybody in this room is an independent associate. So you're posting your own independent stuff. So when somebody said, well, so-and-so said that I can remove everything, I said, well, you need to go call so-and-so. Because we don't say that. I say that what we're going to do is we're going to go through the process and we're going to remove the things that they can't verify. If they can verify it, guess what? We move on. Because we got other things that we can do. Everybody okay with that? All right. Just want to make sure. All right? Now, there are a few other letters that you can use depending on your situation. In your back office, we got all of those letters. We even have a letter called debt validation. These letters go to your credit reporting agencies. The debt validation letter goes to the collection company. It goes to those people that you actually owe the debt to. That's called a debt validation letter, all right? And that's under a whole set of guidelines for that, all right? So now all of these things are very, very important for you to know, okay? Because if you don't know the law, you don't understand the law, you can find yourself in a situation that really puts you in a jam. I'm going to stop here and give you a story. So once I got my head out of the sand and I started fixing my credit, there were some people that weren't bothering me. Visa wasn't bothering me. MasterCard wasn't bothering me. None of them were bothering me. But as soon as I started challenging and started sending these letters out, they started calling me again. You know why? Because they said, oh, he's trying to get his credit together. It's time for us to get paid. He's trying to get his credit together. So they started calling me again, started calling. And I even got a lawsuit. I got sued. And so when I got sued, I got served. Somebody knocked on the door, I got the papers. Let me just say this. Don't run away from the guy that's trying to serve you. Don't be looking through the blinds and think just because you don't sign that paper that ain't nothing gonna happen. It's coming, right? And so what you gotta do is you gotta be bold enough that you stand in front and say, yeah, give me the papers, let me sign the papers, right? Now I'm saying that now, but back then I was shaking like a leaf, right? Yeah, okay, right? Somebody's suing you. And you think you're going to jail. See, sometimes the monster is bigger than what it really is. And so I signed those papers. And when I signed those papers, I don't know what they do at the courthouse, but I started getting letters from lawyers. They started sending me letters talking about how they can help me and represent me and all of this good stuff. And I got one letter from a lawyer, and he says, listen, you got this debt. We see that you're being sued by this company. If you allow us to represent you for $750, we will represent you. If we get the debt removed clearly, altogether, you owe us another $750. If we don't get the debt removed, we'll try to negotiate down. So I said, what I got to lose? I got $14,000 on this credit card, right? What do I got to lose? So I hired him, paid him $750. I said, do you need me to go to court? No, we don't need you to go to court. And man, time was going by. They weren't calling me. They weren't saying nothing. And I'm like, man, I don't want to be somewhere, get stopped at a red light, and the cop come and get me. And next thing you know, I got my... And just at that point, it'll be a MyEcon associate driving by, looking at the VP of marketing, right? So, the lawyer called me up a couple months later, and he said, your debt has been forgiven, it's cleared, you don't owe them anything, it's coming off your credit report, but you owe me another $750. So how many of you know I gladly paid him, right? That was $1,500 on a $14,000 debt that I had. I thought that was good. So, I'm trying to get my credit together. A month later, somebody come knocking on the door again, handing me another one, right? So I signed that one. I was a little bit more confident this time. And so I said, well, I got off on the last one. I'll try to get off on this one, but I don't want to pay the $1,500. So I went down to the courthouse. I told the lady at the courthouse, I said, look, I had a case against me about a month ago. I need to get a copy of all the records on that case. So they made a printout of everything on that case. What the lawyer had submitted, what he had done, all that good stuff. So I went home, and I started going through this stuff. And I started looking at all the stuff that was on the paperwork. And then what I did is I said, well, I don't know what none of this means, but I'm going to copy everything, and I'm going to take this creditor's name out and put this new creditor's name in here, right? And then they did a countersuit. So they countersued the credit card company or the collection agency. And so I countersued as well. So I went down to the courthouse shaking. I ain't never sued nobody in my life, right? And I submitted my paperwork. Nobody called me. The day of the court came up. Let me tell you something. If you don't go to court, you automatically lose. If you don't go, you automatically lose. I went to court. I'm sitting in court. We had a gas shortage that week. There was a gas shortage, pipeline bust somewhere, and the lawyer, I looked to see, the lawyer was downtown Atlanta. I live up in Lawrenceville on the outskirts of Atlanta, right? So I was like, Lord, please, Lord, don't let the lawyer be able to get some gas so he can get up to the courthouse. I was hoping that he wouldn't show up. So we get there. I'm in the courtroom. People sitting in the courtroom. The judge started calling out the names, and the lawyers are standing up. And they say, go see that lawyer, go see that lawyer. Everybody's getting called. And there's people that's being called, and they didn't even show up. Half the names that were called were not even in the room. So the judge says, go in the hallway and talk to the lawyer. And if you guys can come up with an agreement, we'll take the agreement that you come up with. If not, then we'll try the case in court. So we all go out in the hallway. And my lawyer had 3 or 4 people, and he had somebody in front of me. So he over there working with them. I'm sitting down. I'm watching people. And they're getting slaughtered like sheep. Because they don't know. Mr. Curry told you, lack of knowledge. All right? So they're getting slaughtered like sheep. And so they're making agreements with the lawyer. So my lawyer comes up. He says, Mr. Carter, we ready for you. So I go over in the corner. And the first thing he says, well, we know that this debt is yours, right? I look at him. I don't say a word. Because see, it's your job to verify the debt is mine. I'm not going to tell on myself. So when I didn't say anything, it got kind of odd. It got kind of, you ever been talking to somebody and then they just stop? It's kind of a weird feeling, right? And they say that the first person that talks loses. So I said, I ain't got nothing to lose. I ain't saying a doggone thing. So then he said, well, maybe we don't know that the debt is yours. So then he goes, Mr. Collier, my client is willing to negotiate with you. We're willing to negotiate an agreement with you so that you can pay just half the debt. And I looked at him, and in my heart was saying, take it. Because I had the money, right? Take it. But I said, I ain't fearful. I ain't no scaredy cat. I didn't come all this way to get scared. I came this way to go all the way. We're going all the way. So what I told him is I said, and I didn't know what this meant at the time, but I was looking at the paperwork from the last lawyer, and the last lawyer said I had a standing. He said I had a standing. Now, I didn't know what a standing meant. But I looked at the lawyer in his eyes. I said, we're going all the way. I believe I got a standing. I believe I got a standing. Honest to God. The lawyer opened up his briefcase. I said, I'm ready to go to court. I'm ready to try this court. Because I got a lawsuit against y'all. He opened up his briefcase. He pulled out some paperwork that was already printed up. He said, listen, I got one more option for you. If you drop your lawsuit, we'll drop ours. Hey! If you drop yours, we'll drop ours. I can work with that. That's what I said. Right? So I signed the paperwork. He signed the paperwork. I went through the paperwork. It said they're going to take it off my credit report, going to do this and do that. And the last sentence on that paperwork said, you can't tell nobody. I swear to God, I got the paperwork at home. It said you can't tell nobody. Now, I didn't tell y'all who it was. But ask yourself this question. Why did they say I couldn't tell anybody? See, Mr. Pettiford told you earlier, your lack of knowledge. Capitalism. Capitalism is designed for you to not know. That's why they don't teach about money in schools. He already told you only 10% of the people know how it works, so they can take advantage of the other 90%. So I walked out that courtroom, chest popped up, man, because I had went in there, I said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I kept saying that over and over in my head. And now my credit back up high, right? I'm good. I'm good. Don't get scared. We ain't never scared. That's what you ought to say. I ain't never scared. All right? So once you have the information will allow you to transform and allow you to take yourself to the next level. So credit utilization, how do we do that? We correct our tax withholding, create some business income, lower our taxes, and eliminate our debt. That's MyEcon all day long income shift.